JT with you here on Bleav as we get going, brought to you by Bet Online. Basketball is back, and Bet Online remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, players' news, and the great trends at Bet Online. And as you continue to get involved with these podcasts, make sure we're your source for all sports wagering information. Bleav is where you come for breaking news with the NFL. Shaun King, kind enough to join us, the former NFL quarterback, the Super Bowl champion, also with VSiN. And Shaun, really appreciate you doing this. Let's jump in from the game last night. Big picture, what you saw with the Buccaneers and especially Brady losing 3 in a row for the first time in 20 years.
Well, JT, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to be on the show. Not as excited as I was to be a Bucs fan, but listen, Father Time doesn't send you a 2-week notice. Like, it's just like you go to perform one day as a professional athlete, and you start seeing you're getting old. You know, if you look at Floyd Mayweather, the greatest boxer ever, in my opinion, you look at him fight exhibitions now. The reaction time's not the same. The speed of the punches is not the same. The movement is off slightly. Doesn't mean he still can't win the exhibitions because he's winning, but you can tell he's a shell of what he used to be. That's what we're witnessing with Tom. You know, he can't push the ball down the field like he used to. The anticipation isn't the same. You see him more times than not, you know, kind of being a little apprehensive to contact in the pocket. And so when you add in the fact that the Bucs can't defend the run and they can't run the ball, Brady at this point in his career, with everything going on in his life, I just don't think this team, you know, has playoffs in their future.
Yeah, it's starting to look that way, Shaun. A couple of big picture items, too, from the game. The fact that the division is up in the air. No Baker Mayfield till he comes back from the injury. They move Robbie Anderson, Christian McCaffrey, and they're in the hunt here along with Atlanta and what we're seeing with that division overall. So this clearly looks like it, and this happened in the era that you played in, where a team could win 7 or 8 games and win the division. Is that Brady's way to get back in via the back door, just pull this season together, or do you think the team overall, offense, defense, and special teams, can't win the division?
I just don't think they're good enough, JT. You know, they're not explosive on offense. Defensively, Kansas City exposed them. You know, Kansas City came in there in primetime television and punched them in the mouth. And now every week, teams aren't afraid of that Bucs run defense. They say if you hit them in the mouth, they'll eventually fold. I mean, look at the success the Panthers had running the ball. Now look at the success the Ravens had running the ball. They gave up almost 300 yards rushing. And don't talk to me about injuries because the guys that were out don't really make tackles. Carlton Davis, great corner. He's not going to shore up your run game. Winfield, great safety, nickelback. Their issues are Levante David, Devin White aren't playing good. They don't have Ndamukong Suh to pair with Vita Vea in the middle of that defense. And then Jason Pierre-Paul, you know, isn't there anymore. So their issues are systemic. I think it's the process of winning a Super Bowl using veteran free agency. You see the Rams taking a step back. I think the Bucs are taking a step back. I think this is the other side of when you build it through free agency, not the draft. Not a right or wrong way, because championship is the ultimate destination. So however you get there, you get there. But I don't think the sustainability model is in your favor if it's not draft built.
You know, Shaun, what's interesting is you nailed that with Ndamukong Suh and JPP. Those linebackers who are really good for Tampa in that defense, they were getting just slaughtered over the middle of the field. You know, if Lamar Jackson runs, he's one of the greats of all time and still a young player, but they were gouging them in the running game. And I saw spaces wide open in the middle of the field you don't normally see from this modern-day version of this Buccaneers team.
Yeah, you know, it's one of the things that people don't talk about. Pierre-Paul Sue took a lot of that offensive line less weight off of David and Devin White. I mean, all you saw last year was offensive linemen running in the clear, being able to cover up those Bucs linebackers. And that's not something we're used to seeing. It's not something I think they can fix midstream. So I think they're going to have to play it out. They're going to have to hope that Carolina and Atlanta just can't win games. I think that's their only way into the playoffs. And hey, man, JT, I'm not sitting here, you know, overly criticizing or down on the Bucs, man. They won us a championship. So the Brady, Gronkowski, Sue, Pierre-Paul, all those moves are worth it because there's another banner hanging in Raymond James. But unfortunately, this is the other side of that process.
That is a great point, Shaun. That's why we're having you on here. A quick analysis of what happened last night, Thursday Night Football, Bleav. And, the breaking news on the divorce happened today. And you and I are not guys that are going to gossip about a man's family. But it is breaking news. And a lot of the debate shows and the screamers are going crazy on this about the distraction and all of that. I just will tell you now, the fact that it's today and it's going to be approved today and it's going to be finalized today is very interesting because at a minimum, you could clearly prove that that's got to be some form of a distraction for Tom Brady, the most focused football player of all time. It didn't show up in the stats, Shaun. As I'm looking at the stats, he threw for 325 yards, a touchdown. He didn't have an interception in the game. He was sacked 3 times, didn't have a high rating. Lamar Jackson outplayed him, but do you bring anything to that background noise of taking time off, the 10 days off in the preseason, and now the news that the divorce will be final?
Well, it all matters, JT. I don't think any isolated piece of it is more important than the other, but it all matters, And then you add in that he's 45 years old now. I mean, this is unheard of.
Yeah.
I mean, Russell Wilson looks washed, and he's about 8 to 10 years younger. So I mean, the fact that he's played at this high level for this long, I mean, speaks volumes to his preparation and who he is. But it looks like Father Time is caught up, and it just so happened that it coincides with a lot of other things going on in his life. So, of course, that impacts you, that affects you. Nobody wants to be in this situation, especially not in the court of public opinion. So, I sympathize with Tom, but at the end of the day, he's still a 7-time Super Bowl winner. I mean, he's going to be on that side of the Hall of Fame that Deion Sanders was talking about. Deion said these guys deserve to be in, but it should be different levels. He's on that level that Deion's on. So I wish him the best. I wish guys like Antonio Brown would stop poking at him. He's been great for the game. He's been great for the compensation of pro football players away from the game of football. Like, he's enhanced, the monetization of name, image, likeness in such a tremendous way that a lot of guys are making a lot of money because of some of the things that he created pathways for. So let's appreciate him for what he was. When I think Drew Brees, I don't remember the last year and a half in New Orleans.
Point.
When I think Big Ben Roethlisberger, I don't remember the last probably 10 years in Pittsburgh. I remember the ones before that. So just like Peyton Manning, I mean, he was a shell of himself in that Super Bowl win with Denver. But we remember the great years. So that's how I'm going to choose to remember Tom.
Shaun, let's wrap it up with 2 more quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, the news breaks that he's doing high knees on the airplane, and people are trolling him now also because he just looks different, and he's too early for Father Time just yet. But maybe something's happening here. Your quarterback analysis of what you're seeing with Russell Wilson is they have a big game in London. Their season's on the brink. They need to win desperately.
I just don't think Russell's very good on the field anymore. And I think Russell thinks that he can minimize the criticism or deflect the attention and the scrutiny by acting like, he's this unicorn of an NFL player. Like, his only focus is how to maximize every second of every. Man, Russell, shut up and go play good football. That's all the Denver Broncos fans care about, is when you drop back the pass, can you find the open receiver and accurately deliver him the ball? They don't care that you're doing high knees on a flight to London. They don't care what time you wake up. They don't care if you drink water or if you show up to work and drink a bottle of whiskey every day. What they want you to do is get them to the playoffs and potentially help them win a Super Bowl. And right now, he's not doing that.
Let's wrap it up with Aaron Rodgers, as it looks like they're going to get boat race going into Buffalo. That might not be the case. Maybe it's a rallying point here. 1 Super Bowl. Where do you stand with Aaron Rodgers with Father Time? It looks to me, Shaun, like he has no trust in those young receivers who are dropping balls all the time. He's very animated during the game, and he's more animated after the game. Unlike Brady, who we saw last night in the press conference, doesn't take shots at his teammates. Aaron Rodgers is kind of poking the locker room by talking about players who are not performing well. How do you see it there?
Well, let me first of all say I think Green Bay covers the 11. I think that's a big number. I do think they put up a spirited performance. I don't think they're a playoff caliber team. I will say this about Aaron Rodgers, probably the most talented thrower of the football we've seen. I mean, he can make all the throws from all different arm angles, from all different, positions of balance, but he might be one of the most tone-deaf superstars I've ever been around. I mean, he has no understanding or interest in how the things he says and the way he acts impact others. You know, he made a statement about people don't want to hear the truth. Well, damn, Aaron, is anybody telling you the truth? You stink right now. You're not playing at a high level. Like, to whom much is given, much is required, JT. And look at the pay structure in Green Bay. Who makes the most money? So if we aren't successful, then the guy that making the most money, he needs to look like he deserves to make the most money. And that hadn't been the case for Green Bay. Don't sit back there and put it on your receivers because they aren't making highlight film, highlight real catches. Don't put it on the offensive line because they aren't giving you 8 seconds to throw the ball. Like, you are the one making the most money. You should be the difference maker, the glue that holds this thing together as those younger players get experience. So I don't think this is a sustainable model for Green Bay. But I do think Green Bay covers both versus Buffalo.
Well, our goal on NFL Hits is to turn around breaking news, and it was breaking news late last night. Shaun King, kind enough to join us quickly with the turnaround, courtesy of Bleav, the whole podcasting network, which Shaun is a part of his great career now at VSiN and all of his other ventures. Shaun, I look forward to seeing you soon in Vegas. Thanks for doing this.
Hey, JT, enjoy your weekend.
And thanks, everybody, and thanks for joining us on NFL Hits.